Hey, welcome back. If you're new here, welcome. I appreciate you guys so much. So, I have my April book haul, and when I do these hauls, it's the books that I get throughout the month. So, throughout the month of April, these are the books that I picked up at different times in different places, and I just kind of let them collect throughout the month, and then I can, do the haul in the following month. So let's get started on this. We had a new Target that opened up closer to our side of the town because Denton is huge. We live in Denton County outside of Denton city limits. So closer to us, they put a Target in, and I'm just trying to find those books that I got from Target, because this new Target, actually any Target, has so many books. I mean, they got a really great book selection, and I feel like this new one has a really good collection too. Now, I don't remember every single place that I got these books, but I'm going to do my best. So, books from Target, 2 different visits now at the same time. We got this one here, You Shouldn't Have Come Here, by Geneva Rose. I already read this book. I read this in April, so I will be having my wrap-up coming soon. So yeah, this one is You Shouldn't Have Come Here by Geneva Rose. It was okay, you guys, but there was some weird stuff in it. Let me read you the synopsis, okay? Grace Evans was an overworked New Yorker looking for a total escape from her busy life. Books and Airbnb on a ranch in the middle of Wyoming. When she arrives at the idyllic getaway, she's pleased to find that the owner is a handsome man by the name of Calvin Wells, and he's eager to introduce her to his easygoing way of life. But there are things Grace discovers that she's not too pleased about. A lack of cell phone service, a missing woman, and a feeling that something isn't right with the ranch. Despite her uneasiness, the two bond and start to fall for one another. However, as her departure date nears, things change for the worse. What began as a playful romance soon turns into a complicated web of lies. Grace grows wary of Calvin as his infatuation for her seems to have morphed to obsession. Calvin fears that Grace is hiding something from him, including her reason for staying at his ranch to begin with. Vacation flings typically end in heartbreak, but for Grace and Calvin, it'll be far more destructive. Okay, so in this book, the author does not really give you clues or hints as to who to look out for. So you're like each of these characters. You don't know about the other person. You don't know who's hiding what. And yeah, it was just really kind of odd. And, of course, they had to throw in explicit sex in maybe 1 or 2 scenes, and then one in a dream. And I'm like, why? This is a thriller. It doesn't need that. But anyway, I read this book, and I read it because it was a Y for my A through Z challenge. Okay, the next one we got here. We've got One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns. These are by Rachel Gillig. Okay. I'm going to read to you the One Dark Window because I'm guessing this is the first book. So let's read what this one says. Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. Quite the name. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets the mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into the world of shadow and deception, she joins the dangerous quest to cure blunder of dark magic infecting it. Except the highwayman just so happens to be the king's own nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and guilty of high treason. A maiden must unleash the monster within to save her kingdom in this dark, lush, gothic fantasy debut. So this is a debut novel. Yeah, I guess we'll just see how these go, and maybe there will be a review. I don't know if there is any other books coming out in this series. Okay. The next one we got here is The Last One at the Wedding. This is by Jason McCulloch. And Hidden Pictures was a really, really good story. So let's read what this one is about. This says, it's been 3 years since Frank Satowski last heard from his daughter, and he's devastated by their long, unhappy estrangement. But then an unexpected phone call from Maggie changes everything. She says she's getting married and she wants her father to walk her down the aisle. Frank is overjoyed by the news. Here at last is the chance for reconciliation, a perfect opportunity to repair their fractured relationship. But a disturbing discovery about his future son-in-law leads Frank to wonder if Maggie is making a terrible mistake. And once he arrives at the wedding, an extravagant 3-day affair set at a luxurious lakefront estate, the warning signs keep piling up. Can Frank unravel the truth about Maggie's fiancé before it is too late? This one sounds like it's going to be really, really good. First time I actually read the synopsis of this book, because I liked Hidden Pictures so much, I figured that this one was going to be just as good. It does sound really, really good. The next book we've got here, yes, cover by. This is The Serpent and the Wolf by Rebecca Robinson. Let's see what this one has to say. All her life, Vasa Kozar has been sharpened into a blade. She has now lost her mother, her only remaining parent, to dark magic that has since awoken within her. Vasa's domineering brother Dominic knows Vasa isn't long for this world, so he marries her off to Reed of Murch, a ruthless foreign ruler, in one last political scheme. For Dominic to invade Reed's nation, all Vasa has to do is die. But she is desperate to live. Vasa enters her new marriage with every intent of escaping it. To her surprise, Reed offers her a deal. Help him win the votes to rise in power, and she can walk free. In exchange, he will keep the dark magic running through her veins at bay. His proposal may be too good to refuse, yet Vasa and Reed's undeniable attraction threatens to break the rules of their arrangement. As Dominic's lethal machinations take form, everything is at stake. Vasa must learn to trust her new husband, but how can she? Especially when the perfect political marriage begins to feel like the real thing. So it sounds really, really good. Great title for this. Really looking forward to reading this one. Okay, that was all of the Target books, I believe. Okay. I also did some shopping at the used bookstore, and I had requests to record it, and I did not record it going to the used bookstore. It's just, there's a lot of people around all the time when we're there, and it's just too much for me to pull out the camera and start recording. I don't want to get other people in the recording and all that stuff, so yeah, it didn't happen. Maybe if I go on a day where it's not busy, then it could happen. But, okay, so here we go. The next book we've got here is Crossroad. This did come from the used bookstore, I think. Pretty sure. This is by Jonathan Franzen. Let's see what this one says. It's December 23rd, 1971, and heavy weather is forecast for Chicago. Russ Hildebrandt, the associate pastor of a liberal suburban church, is on the brink of breaking free of a marriage he finds joyless, unless his wife Marion, who has her own secret life, beats him to it. Their eldest child, Clem, is coming home from college on fire with moral absolutism, having taken an action that will shatter his father. Clem's sister, Becky, long the social queen of her high school class, has sharply veered into the counterculture, while their brilliant younger brother Perry, who's been selling drugs on seventh graders, has resolved to be a better person. Each of the Hildebrands seek a freedom that each of the other threatens to complicate. So it sounds like a lot is going to be going on in this in 1971, but I'm looking forward to reading it. It sounds really interesting to me. The next book we've got here is Hemlock Island by Kelly Armstrong. I have read Kelly Armstrong in the past. Let's see what this one says. Lainey Kilpatrick has been renting her vacation home to strangers. The invasion of privacy gives her panic attacks, but it's the only way she can keep her beloved Hemlock Island, which is the only thing she owns after a pandemic-fueled divorce. But broken belongings and campfires that nearly burned down the house have escalated to bloody bones, hex circles, and now terrified renters who fled after finding blood and nail marks all over the guest room closet, as though someone tried to claw their way out and failed. When Lainey shows up to investigate with her teenage niece in tow, she discovers that her ex, Kit, has also been informed and is there with Jayla, his sister, and Lainey's former best friend. Then Sadie, another high school friend, charters a boat over with her brother, who's now a cop. There are tensions and secrets, whispers in the woods, and before long, the discovery of a hand poking up from the earth, then the body that goes with it. But by that time, someone has taken their own means of transportation off the island, and they're trapped with someone or something that doesn't want them to leave the island alive. That sounds really good. It's a small book. I should just read this, right? Yeah, that one sounds really, really good. The next one we've got here is The Maidens by Alex. I'm not sure how you say that name. I know a lot of people have already read this book. I have read The Silent Patient and enjoyed that one, so I'll probably enjoy this one. Edward Fosca is a murderer. Of this, Mariana is certain, but Fosca is untouchable. A handsome and charismatic Greek tragedy professor at Cambridge University, Fosca is adored by staff and students alike, particularly by the members of a secret society of female students known as the Maidens. Mariana Andros is a brilliant but troubled group therapist who becomes fixated on the Maidens when one member, a friend of Mariana's niece Zoe, is found murdered in Cambridge. Mariana, who was once herself a student at the university, quickly suspects that behind the idyllic beauty of spires and turrets and beneath the ancient tradition lies something sinister, and she becomes convinced that despite his alibi, Edward Fosca is guilty of the murder. But why would the professor target one of his students? Why does he keep returning to the rites of Persephone, the maiden, and her journey to the underworld? When another body is found, Mariana's obsession with proving Fosca's guilt spirals out of control, threatening to destroy her credibility as well as her closest relationships. But Mariana is determined to stop this killer, even if it costs her everything, including her own life. And yes, it does sound like a brilliant story. I just now got the book and haven't read it, but I will be reading it. Okay. This one is Gone Tonight by Sarah Buchanan, who is co-author of The Wife Between Us, which I read. Let's see what this one says. It's Gone Tonight. 41-year-old Ruth Sterling is on the run from her past while trying to hold on to her future by protecting her 24-year-old daughter, Catherine. It's always been just the two of them against the world, but how well do they really know each other? And what made Ruth, a pregnant teenager all those years ago, run from her life? When Ruth's desperate quest to keep Catherine by her side reveals cracks in her carefully constructed world, both mother and daughter begin a dance of deception. One that begs the question, who does the darkness lie within? So it says it's a propulsive, brilliantly layered, and true shocker. Gone Tonight is an emotionally thrilling powerhouse of a novel about motherhood, young love, protection, and the violence that lies dormant in the least expected places. Mother versus daughter. Interesting. The next one we got here is The Devil You Know by P.J. Tracy. I have read a book by P.J. Tracy. And let's see what she's done with this one. Los Angeles has many faces. The real LA, where regular people live and work, the degenerate underbelly of any big city, and the rarefied world of wealth, power, and celebrity. LAPD Detective Margaret Nolan's latest case plunges her into this insular realm of privilege and gives her a glimpse of the decay behind the glitter. Beloved actress Evan Hobbs is found in the rubble of a Malibu rock slide the day after a fake video ruins his career. It's not clear to Nolan if it's an accident, a suicide, or a murder, and things get murkier as the investigation expands to his luminary friends and colleagues. Meanwhile, Hobbs' agent is dealing with damage control, his psychotic boss, and a woman he's scorned. Darkness is nothing new to Nolan, but at P.J. Tracy's The Devil You Know, even she isn't prepared for the scandalous deception of deadly proportions that shakes the very foundation of Hollywood and its untouchables and leaves her entangled in its rotten core. This sounds really, really good, because we know about Hollywood's untouchables. Yes. The next book we got here is Bloodleaf by Crystal Smith. Again, look at this cover. Gorgeous. This one says, often when someone says they want to protect you, they actually meant they want to control you. Princess Aruella, don't know exactly how to say it, is a prisoner to her crown and the heir that nobody wants. Surrounded by spirits and banned from using her blood magic. Oh, that's an Arlia. I'm really struggling today, you guys. Aurelia. Aurelia must flee her country after a devastating assassination attempt. Her only option for freedom lies with another warden, her betrothed, Prince Valentin. To escape her fate, Aurelia disguises herself as a commoner in a new land and discovers a happiness her crown has never allowed. As she forges new bonds and perfects her magic, she begins to fall for the man who's forbidden to rule beside her. But the ghosts that haunt Aurelia refuse to abandon her, and she finds herself succumbing to their call as they expose a nefarious plot that only she can defeat. Will she be forced to choose between the weight of the crown and the freedom of her new life? So there's a lot of different elements to this story. Next one we got here is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I've heard a lot about Emily Henry from my niece. I believe I read Book Lovers and just thought that one was okay. Okay, think of your happy place. Harriet and Wynne have been the perfect couple since they met in college. They go together like salt and pepper, honey and tea, lobster and rolls, except now, for reasons they're still not discussing, they don't. They broke up 5 months ago and still haven't told their best friends, which is how they find themselves sharing a bedroom at the main cottage that has been their friends' group yearly getaway for the last decade. Their annual respite from the world, where for one vibrant, blissful week they leave behind their daily lives, have copious amounts of cheese, wine, and seafood, and soak up the salty coastal air with the people who understand them most. Only this year, Harriet and Wynne are lying through their teeth while trying not to notice how desperately they still want each other, because the cottage is for sale, and this is the last week they'll have together in this place. They can't stand to break their friends' hearts, and so they'll play their parts. Harriet will be the driven surgical resident who never starts a fight, and Wynne will be the laid-back charmer who never lets the cracks show. It's a flawless plan if you look at it from a great distance through a pair of sunscreen-smeared sunglasses. After years of being in love, how hard can it be to fake it for 1 week in front of those who know you best? It sounds good, so we'll check it out and see if I like this one better than Book Lovers. And we got this one by Ellen Hildebrand, The 5-Star Weekend. One of my sisters absolutely loves her, so I'm going to try. I got a few of her books now, and I'm going to try her out and see if I like her as well. Okay, this one says, Holly Shaw's life seems picture perfect. She's the creator of the popular found blog, Hungry with Holly. And and is married to Matthew, a dreamy heart surgeon. But after she and Matthew get into a heated argument one snowy morning, he leaves for the airport and is killed in a car accident. That would be horrible, especially after having an argument. The cracks in Holly's perfect life, her strained marriage, and her complicated relationship with her daughter, Carolyn, grows deeper. For when Holly when Holly hears about something called a 5-star weekend, one woman organizes a trip for her best friend from each phase of her life, her teenage years, her 20s, her 30s, and midlife. She decides to host her own 5-star weekend on Nantucket, but her weekend doesn't turn out to be a joyful Hallmark movie. The husband of Holly's childhood friend, Tatum, arranges for Holly's first love, Jack Finnegan, to spend time with them, stirring up old feelings. Meanwhile, Tatum is forced to play nice with the abrasive and elitist Drew Ann, Holly's best friend from UNC Chapel Hill. Drew Ann's career as a prominent Chicago sports agent is in jeopardy after her comments about a client's mental health issues are misconstrued online. Brooke, lots of people. Brooke, Holly's friend from their 30s, has just discovered that her husband is having an inappropriate relationship with a woman at work again. And then there's Gigi, a stranger to everyone, including Holly, who reached out to Holly on her blog. Gigi embodies an unusual grace and, as it happens, has many secrets. So, lots of people in this book. So we'll see how that one turns out. And the last book we have here is Lisa Gardner, Still See You Everywhere. I have a bunch of Lisa Gardner books, and you know what? I haven't even picked them up. I think what I've done is I have chosen my favorite female mystery writers, and that's who I stick with. And I just never picked up a Lisa Gardner book. I thought her books always sounded good, and I just never got to the point of figuring out what is part of series and what isn't. So they're just piling up, and yet again, I do it. One of these days, I am going to get with the Lisa Gardner books that I have and figure out which ones are series and which ones are standalones, and go from there. So let's see what this one is about. Oh, well, this one doesn't want to stay there. Frankie Elkin is an expert at finding the missing persons that the rest of the world has forgotten. But even she couldn't have anticipated this latest request to locate the long-lost sister of a female serial killer facing execution in 3 weeks' time. She had called herself Death, but people called her the Devil. The case was sensational. Kaylee Pearson had confessed from the very beginning, waived all appeals despite the media's chronicling of her tragic circumstances. The child had spent with a violent father. No one could find sympathy for the beautiful butcher who had led 18 men home from bars before viciously slitting their throats. Now, with only 21 days left to live, Pearson has finally received a lead on the whereabouts of the sister who was kidnapped over a decade ago, and she needs Frankie's help to find her. The beautiful butcher's offer is, when was the last time your search ended with finding the living? Unable to resist the chance for a rescue, Frankie takes on Pearson's request. 12 years ago, 5-year-old Leilani went missing in Hawaii. The main suspect, Pearson's tech mogul ex-boyfriend, Sanders McManus, now on a remote island in the middle of the Pacific. The site of McManus' latest vanity project, fresh evidence has appeared. In order to learn the truth and possibly save a young woman's life, Frankie must go undercover at an isolated base camp. Her challenge? A dozen strangers, countless dangerous secrets, zero means of calling for help. And then the storm rolls in. That one sounds amazing. See, her books all sound good, but they're all still sitting there. And so maybe I need to pick this one up soon to have finally read something by Lisa Gardner. We'll see. So that is the book haul, you guys. I think they all sound fantastic. And like I said, I've read this one and it was really strange. I think I gave it 3.5 or 4 stars. I don't quite remember now. But yeah, I mean, even Colleen Hoover has a blurb on here that says Geneva Rose is the queen of twists. There were some twists. Not gonna lie, there were some twists. especially like right at the end of it. So yeah, that is the book haul. If you guys have read any of these books, let me know down in the comments below, but don't give me any spoilers. Thanks you guys for staying tuned, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.